status, can he really get a fair trial? I mean, it was so public knowledge, what happened, what did.
Yes, but those jury were under before they got. You got to keep in mind both sides get to select, and pick jury and get interviewed before you don't just get to go on the witness stand. Like if we had been summoned for that case, they would have asked us a series of questions to qualify us to see if we were able to be, bipartisan and sit and listen and not just be biased or focus on, what we seen on TV, things of that nature. I mean, you can say the same for a lot of celebrities that found themselves at some point.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, and in all honesty, now I know what he was accused of. Are these crimes a misdemeanor or a real felony crime? I mean, are they
No,
saying this?
this is a real felony crime, but it's a lower class, like a third rated felony. So it's a low felony, but it is a felony charge. Anytime you have any kind of fraud, when it's involved with money of some sort, it's defrauding the United States. So that's why
Well,
it's a felony, right?
let me
Because
ask you this:
it involves money and things of that nature.
how's it fraud though? It's his own. Like, even if he did pay her, how's it fraud? He just paid the woman. Like,
Yeah, but in our country, even if you and I, if I wanted to give you $100,000, even as a gift, you have to go through all these channels just to do that. Dude, I just experienced this working for the company I work for. They gave me $200. I had to go to the bank, to our own bank, meaning the store's bank, right? Go to there and get change. All I needed was change. And because it was $200, the clerk at the bank gave me a hard time to just break the $200 bills down into 20s and 50s, 5s and 10s and singles, because it was more than $25. And I'm going, are you for real right now? Like, it's a Saturday, it's busy. My accountant office is closed. Otherwise, my accountant office, we would just be able to provide the change. It wouldn't have been an issue because it wasn't a weekday. But I go to the bank and I'm getting harassed because it was more than $25 for her to break
I
it
understand.
down. So
I understand that. Like, so let's just say he did give her the money.
right,
Stormy Daniels took the money.
correct.
How do you get in trouble for giving somebody money? Shouldn't the person who got the money should declare the money and pay taxes on it? Shouldn't they be the one in trouble? I mean, did she pay tax on this money?
She probably did, because that was her profession. But remember, it wasn't just him paying her directly. He was trying to cover this up, and this is where the crime came in, because he was trying to hide this. If he wasn't trying to hide this, and it was just a matter of payment, and he just paid her directly and filed or whatever correct papers to do such, then it would never have been a crime. He was obviously trying to hide this, and that's what made it a crime. And then him and his lawyers got together, which is Michael Cohen, and they created a fake LLC company, a shell company, to move this large amount of money, to pay her to be quiet, to not go forward and speak. They could have just drew up a legal contract, and all parties could have agreed, and she could have signed off on it and just paid her directly. It would have been over. It would have never turned into a crime. But when you do something that you don't want your wife to know because you cheated on her, and then obviously for election law purposes, he messed up, because he could have publicly announced that he did this, and it would have never been a crime.
Yeah, you know what? I understand what you're saying, but I know we're supposed to be a free country, but where's the free part coming in? I gotta tell you everything. Like, it's not like it was millions of dollars. Like it was like 5, 6 million, 10 million. It was a couple. It was 100,000. Like, and the lawyer paid her, and basically he reimbursed
Well,
the lawyer.
well, technically, right? So there was a third party, which was the journalist slash David Pack, who basically was the one who's been doing this in the past for Trump when he was just a celebrity, right? But the problem is Trump has always had this stigma of not paying people back when people had promised to do business with him in some shape or form. So it really, Cohen had to pay David Pack, who in turn paid Stormy Daniels, and then Trump paid back Cohen, right? So that was the way to make this work, because David Pack was like, look, I'm not going to do this for you because you've burnt me in the past by not paying me. Too many times you've promised to pay and you didn't. So this was the steps that was taken. This is what led to Cohen recording Trump to reinsure that he was going to get paid, get funded the money for forwarding this money to Stormy Daniels to make this go away. Look, at the end of the day, the crime was committed. There was physical documents. There was the signed checks by Trump. There was the text messages and phone calls, the recordings, and everything. So there was physical evidence there. So the crime was what it was. But here's the thing: do the judge just give him parole? Does he get community service? Because he's not going to go to jail, right? This is not typical. Even if he was a no-name person, they don't typically put you behind bars for this kind of crime. So what's the punishment for his crime? Do the judge?
How? I mean,
if he does community service, that means he has to go around cleaning up garbage, stuff like that. If he does have to report in for
do you think they're gonna have the ex-president go up clean around, report in and do a?
Look, we don't mean you don't get to make that decision. That's going to come down to the judge, unfortunately. But it would be better than going to jail.
Honestly, if I was Joe Biden, I would just pardon. I mean, I don't know if he can pardon him from a state level.
I think he can ask.
Just to show.
I think he can ask
just to show face. I mean, this is our country here. We're going. I mean, if you like Trump and you don't like him, he still was a president. He held the office. I just don't see doing that to him. For this. This is not like a crime that this is all like bureaucratic back and forth how money goes in this, whatever it is. Maybe it's against the law. Maybe he didn't clear it. Maybe he should just wrote her a check himself and say, yeah, whatever, But I mean, people pay people off to keep things hush hush all the time, and they sign.
Right, which he did when he was just, remember,
To run and you want Joe Biden to run against him, it's got to be up, fair and square. Look, it ain't no shady. It's none of this. Joe Biden beats him, just outbeats him, just beats him. Now this is looking like, they're trying to run interference for it. And people are going to talk. I
I,
think this is, and
the
if
hard
they were going to do this, they should have did this right after he got out of office. Now you
well
want to
that
rush it now. Like,
but
that,
one that he was then served indictment.
right. So, I mean, come on.
So
Does that, I'm going to ask you, does that seem a little fishy?
it this particular case I always felt was more political for the simple factor that,
Yeah.
Trump, you and I, we live in this region, right? And so Trump, we know Trump for many years for being just Trump. Before he got the job as the apprentice, before that, just being Trump, the real estate agent, the real estate, typhoon. And there's always been circles of people crying out of foul with him when it came to doing business. Even with some of the lawyers he's had, they've complained of not being paid. So the crimes, in other words, these crimes, these financial crimes, white collar crimes that he's done, he's been doing them for many years. And what he would do is he would always tie things up with his lawyers and stuff, and would drag them out until the people either financially couldn't come after him anymore because they just didn't have the money to continue trying to civilly get their money back. This is a case that should have been brought long before he ran, long before 2015. Even with the fraud with his company itself, right? Because New York came after him for his company committing fraud before this trial, before the criminal part. And they should have done this years ago. They just never did. And it just seemed like, they sat on his information and had it long ago and probably should have went after him a long time ago, but just chose not to for whatever reason. Probably due to political reasons. They probably didn't, because he probably contributed to people's campaigns.
Well, you know how I feel about that fraud case, though. Like with the banks, I really kind of don't agree. Well, I think that was kind of unfair for him. And you the one told me when he took his money out. Well, I mean, when they were going to loan him the money, he took an insurance policy out to guarantee, and the bank agreed to it. And then you're going to come back and bite me in the ass, like, and come on. like I thought that was a little reach. I'm
Yeah,
not. I mean, I'm not saying here. I'm not defending Trump, or I'm not a Trump supporter, but I listen to both sides, and if you don't want a big divide in the country, you need a candidate to go against him and beat him. Fair and squares, no dirty tricks. And let me tell you, they have their own dirty tricks too, but you got to be clean to go against them. Now,
yeah, but
can
the
you find
problem
a
with
clean
politics,
politician? You can't.
politics is never clean. And that's what I think people don't understand about the political arena. Every job has a description and what it requires, and politicians, they have protections that they sign so that they can say some of the outrageous things they say and not be held accountable. Um, the rest of us don't get that. We don't get to sign that, right? Even though we have freedom of speech, there's still limits to what we can say, believe it or not, when it comes to the law, when it comes to freedom of speech. But politicians, they get to sign a legal document so they can go out and say some of the outrageous things they say, because it is a dirty, muddy arena. It's ugly. People have asked me in the past, would I run for office? And I would tell people all the time, look, I would probably get chewed up and spit out, because it's ugly. I would expect all kinds of bizarre, weird attacks and all kinds of things to be said, just so that they can win, unfortunately. And so, although I do a lot of checks and balances, and I'm really knowledgeable, and I can back up almost everything because I follow through, none of that matters when it comes to politics. People don't even want that. They say they want that from their politician, but they really don't. They want the money to be, the water to be muddy, and for things to be what it is. I've told my colleagues many of times, I would probably have gotten booed off the stage. Networks wouldn't even want me on if I ran for office, just because I would be proving everything my opponent says wrong, and would have facts to back it up. But that doesn't work. People don't like that. That comes off as boring and righteous and this, that, and the other. And so they want you to be a little cutthroat, nasty, vicious person at times, to get at your opponent. So I don't throw my hat in the arena when it comes to politics, because it's an ugly world. So, you still with me, Leon? Buddy, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Hello? Uh-oh. We might have lost Leon here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. I just don't see them putting however old he was, 78, 79.
He's 76 years old. Honestly, I wish there was an age limit. I'm kind of tired of old people running for office.
I mean, here's the thing.
Think it should be a younger person's game, man. At this point, 35 to 65, that should be it. And I don't think anybody should be serving in Congress either past 65. I don't think no judges should be past 65. I think that should be it. It should be, a cutoff point.
If you do that, you open up a slippery slope. I mean,
I know it's considered discrimination, age discrimination, but honestly, it's sad when you see like a Mitch McConnell, have a mental issue, a health issue.
Well,
while he's at the podium talking to the press, or what's her name, France Stein. It's like these people work until they're deceased because they don't want to give up power. I just think it should be a term limit in Congress. I think people should push their governors and their states to force their representatives and their senators to have a term limit, because it's sad watching somebody, I couldn't imagine at my workplace seeing somebody of age like this, like pushing almost 80, still working, and knowing that they're having difficulties. It's like, come on. So,
well, I mean, as we get into the future,
I wish we had two younger candidates, to be honest with you.
I mean, you do.
I just honestly wish we had two younger candidates. And I really hope after this election, when this is all said and done, This we will not see this anymore. At the end of the day, I really hope that maybe some Congress change some rules or something. I don't know, without violating people's constitutional rights. But this is, it's ridiculous. And if you compare our leaders compared to some of the leaders around the world, some of the leaders around the world, they're much younger. They're not the same age as some of our senators and this, that, and the other. It's crazy. It's just crazy. So I labeled yesterday as one of the saddest days in this country. What happened, and I'm glad he had a trial. I believe the trial was fair. I believe in the justice system and going through the system and not trying to circumvent it, right? I did not like members of Congress meddling, because you know what? To be honest with you, if what they say he went through was wrong, then for anybody else that committed those crimes that were not popular, they deserve to be set free, and they would never agree to that.
Yeah,
they just wouldn't. So you can't have double standards for somebody else. And then there's people actually sitting incarcerated right now for crimes. It's just not right. You can't have that.
no. All right, buddy.
You made it into office already?
Yeah, I'm here. I gotta go.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for the talk.
All right, buddy.
All right, I'll see you.